Hello, it's Phillip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers speaking, and I'm looking at an academic book primarily from Edward Elgar Publishing. It's an interesting book on social justice, which is very much part of the EU model, and something which many of us as lawyers are well familiar with, although politically, of course, there are a lot of difficulties. The book is this one here. It's got a long title, The Many Concepts of Social Justice in European Private Law, and it's been edited by Professor Micklitz with a number of contributors. I've given it the title, A Legal Historian's Delight. One of the reasons I've said that is because we're looking really at the history and where we're going within social justice as a whole. And I've been involved in this as a conservative over the last 30 years, and I've seen the changes that have taken place within the European Union, both politically and legally. What we're saying here, though, is that Micklitz's work brings together 15 contributors, plus himself, to produce a highly detailed and rather long series of linked theses, but many concepts sparkle when addressing the finer points of modern social justice theory, which is what the book's primarily aimed at. It's a book for academics and jurisprudents, and very much a European book in keeping with the Edward Elgar stable of modern detailed legal works which look at this particular area. And I think it'll be of great interest also to practitioners for some aspects which I'll come on to in a moment, which cover much of our case law today. The title examines the European model of social justice in private law, which has developed during the 20th century primarily. There are over 450 pages split into 5 parts with 18 contributors. And it's useful to read the introductory chapter from Micklitz, who sets the scene with the highly topical title Social Justice and Access Justice in Private Law. Very much a problem in practical terms right at the bottom for us here in the United Kingdom, with cuts that are taking place within legal aid and all the other problems associated with the reform and changes in the court system. It's of particular interest, I think, to practitioners is the final part, which covers the extent to which patterns of social justice are context related and where they differ when one views competition, consumer and labour or employment law issues as substantive law issues themselves. So as with other Edward Elgar publications, including More Common Ground for International Competition Law, which I've also reviewed, the final chapter by Professor Series is entitled Towards a European Model of Economic Justice, the Role of Competition Law. Again, an important theme, and it was particularly thoughtful, I thought, and much part of the EU's remit, if you like, of today, which so many of us basically think they have. It's certainly an ideal, therefore, as I say, it's more of an academic than a practitioner's book. That's the book itself. There are some comments on the back which you can see from leading academics in America. The book, nice little, it's got a nice detailed index at the back, and the book again has a lot of footnotes. It's highly academic. It has the usual structure, which of course you have with Edward Elgar. You have the title, then you have an explanation of what the actual work is about, and you then get, actually with this, you get the footnotes at the bottom rather than at the end, which I think is also quite helpful. The essay I thought was the most interesting one, which is quite a long one, is the one right at the back, which I'm going to get to in a second, which is highlighted competition, and then it's that one there. As I say, most of the references are in the footnotes, and there are conclusions and references at the back as well. So thank you very much to Professor Micklitz and his team, and to Edward Elgar for an excellent publication. Thank you. Bye-bye.